It's decorating with Dunkin'.
Hey, your desk looks great. Really festive with all the decorations.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, this Dunkin' Peppermint Mocha Latte gave me a little pick-me-up, and I decided to go for it.
Whoa, you even lined your desk drawers with musical lights?
Yep, and look what's inside. A Dunkin' Gingerbread S'mores Latte for you.
Get holiday in at Dunkin' with a $2 medium latte, cappuccino, or Americano from 2 to 6 p.m. The holidays run on Dunkin'. Price and participation may vary. Limited time offer.
TV party tonight! TV party tonight!
Oh, we got nothing better to do than watch TV and have a couple of brews.
Don't want to talk about anything else.
We don't want to know.
We're dedicated to our favorite shows!
Oh, my circuits! Everybody loves Hippo Toes! Scary Dog! Pearson and Blurnsville!
Futurama!
Good evening. You are listening to a Radulich Broadcasting Network premiere podcast, TV Party Tonight. I'm your host, the mandated reporter, and frankly, I'm mortified, Mr. Mark Radulich. And tonight, our favorite show is WWE TLC, Tables, Ladders, and Chairs, brought to you by the good people at the World Wrestling Entertainment Company, the SmackDown brand, the Raw brand, and the Target Center in Minneapolis, Minnesota. Joining me tonight, I have him all to myself. Yes, it's just me and the man who runs the Cosmic Treadmill. He does 87 other podcasts. He'll tell you what they are. Each and every one of them is a bad mother in their own right. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm not going to fuck his name up this time. It's Chris Sheehan.
Hey, you got it this time. How you doing, Mark?
All right, we're done. Thanks.
We're leaving on a high note.
It's not getting any better than this. Hello, I'm good. How are you, sir?
Good. I hope I sound okay. I'm struggling with mic cables. This is like my third or fourth one because I can't get any of them to work. So hopefully you're hearing me okay, and hopefully the good folks are hearing me as well.
You sound crystal clear, Chief. Everything is coming through A-OK.
Beautiful.
When you said you were having mic cable troubles, I kind of half expected you to just be like sitting in a chair, just buried in cables and like tied to the chair partially. But like they revolted. I don't know what happened.
No, they're all on the floor. They are here though. They are looking at me, but we're not touching at the moment.
Perfect. So we are going to review the entire TLC pay-per-view that occurred this past Sunday on the WWE Network. We'll kick things right off. Let me ask you, do you love these? And they did this a few years ago. WWE went to gimmick-branded pay-per-views. Mm-hmm. You know, like instead of saying, so for example, back in the late 90s, Bad Blood had a Hell in the Cell.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You know, Survivor Series had the first Elimination Chamber. Mm-hmm. They did the first Money in the Bank ladder match at one of the WrestleMania.
Yeah.
Right. And then they decided, you know, we're not going to do fun names anymore. We'll just say WWE Last Man Standing pay-per-view. WWE
2 out of 3 falls.
Right.
Tag team match.
Exactly. 6-pack challenge.
No, I hate it. I think like when it's something like a Hell in the Cell, it should be like the big blow off. It should be because a feud is hot enough that it requires a Hell in a Cell for a blow off, and not just because it's October and you know Randy and AJ are just happen to be feuding during October, so why not throw them in a cell? I don't like that. When it's something like Money in the Bank, sure, whatever. You know, that could be its own thing because there really isn't a story that goes into that. It's people, you know, they want eligibility for this match. They gain entrance into this match, and they get the opportunity to do whatever.
But there's also a prize at stake.
Yeah, absolutely. It's like the Royal Rumble in a way. It's
right.
It's you know there is a golden ticket to be punched there, but something like an elimination chamber, something like a Hell in the Cell. I think those things should be used sparingly and only when necessary. And you know, I say that I don't mind things like the Rumble or Money in the Bank, but then we have, and even like Survivor Series to an extent, but it like totally the gimmick of each show just takes over the programs leading up to it, which makes sense because they are leading up to it. But like we saw with Survivor Series a month ago, all of a sudden we have all this weird brand loyalty that just doesn't exist any other time during the year. We have the Royal Rumble, and we're just gonna have rings full of people fighting for no reason for the next like 3 or 4 weeks to build up the Royal Rumble when it's like we know what the match is. You don't need to show us. It's a thing that exists. It's just silliness. But to go all the way back around and answer your initial question, no, I don't like the gimmick pay-per-views.
Yeah, neither do I. We were talking about Jim Cornette before the show started tonight, and and he has a line about there are some matches that need an arena and some arena that need a match. Yeah, he said that about Royal Rumble '97, the Sid Shawn match. Yeah, at the Alamo Dome. I remember him saying that. I think it was on that Sean Oliver show, or not Sean Oliver. Sean, what's his face? Is it Sean Oliver, or is that another guy? The kayfabe commentaries guy, we'll say. Oh, yeah. Where they went through like his booking ledger for 1997, and he was talking about the house for the Alamo Dome, and I remember he said that line there where it's like, sometimes the match requires an arena, and sometimes you have an arena that just needs a match. So, it's definitely that kind of thing. And that's the problem. It's like you said, instead of a natural build up to. So, like, going all the way back to, I believe it was 97, with Shawn and The Undertaker. Shawn and The Undertaker... So, Shawn's the... SummerSlam 97, Shawn is the special referee between Brett and The Undertaker, and The Undertaker has the world title. And Shawn, in a fit of anger, tries to crack Brett with the chair, and he hits Taker, and then he's forced to count Taker's shoulders to the mat because Brett pins him. And then is promptly dropped to the bottom of the card being champion. Hey, he got that match with the Patriot. Come on. He certainly did. It was a good time to be Bret Hart. Anyway, but then that led to Ground Zero, and that ended in a Pier 6 brawl all over the arena. Yeah, like they had to be separated. All kinds of people ran out. It was a big schmoz at the end. That might have been Taker's first big plancha over the top too. I remember that was huge during that show. Yes, that was before everyone started doing it in every match. Yeah. Yes. And before the one guy from Private Party, who you have no idea who I'm talking about, but before the one guy in Private Party did it 106 times in a single match all at once. Yeah. Ask Chris Bailey about it. He'll tell you the tale. So it gets to October, and you get to Bad Blood, and it's like, well, because the last one ended in a schmoz, we need to contain these guys because they're too crazy, they're too wild. We need to keep everybody out. We need to keep them in. Hell in the Cell is born. Now, obviously, there's planning that goes into it, and it isn't as off the cuff as all that. But in the storyline, it was a reaction to the previous match. Absolutely, there was a natural progression of the story. Survivor Series with the Elimination Chamber was a natural progression of all these guys all kind of having an equal claim to the title. Right, having an equal claim to a match with Triple H. Yep. And so they're like, well, we'll throw them all into this elimination. That was Eric Bischoff's solution to, hey, we have like 87 contenders who, who are we going to put in the main event of Survivor Series? Well, how about all of them? And so they did the Elimination Chamber. The problem that you run into, and that's the reason why I brought this up, this TLC, let's see, the Kabuki Warriors, Becky Lynch, Charlotte Flair, which it's a fine match, and we're going to talk about it, in just a few minutes. But did this feud need a ladder match? No, certainly not, because this feud only started a few weeks ago, and the way the feud is played out on Raw, Charlotte could take care of both of them on her own. Becky could take care of both of them on their own until they cheat. So the stakes are just not there, and just necessitating this gimmick. I guess it's just lucky they were feuding in December because it's just there's no other reason for it. You can make the claim that the New Day and the Revival could use a ladder match for theirs because they've traded the titles back and forth. And they've been trading wins. Sure. So, okay, as a blow-off to that feud, it's fine, I guess. And certainly King Corbin and Roman Reigns, they've been going at it for a long while now.
700 years, yeah.
Roughly. So for the brutality that a TLC match usually evokes, okay, I can buy it for that. But the gals just all started feuding recently. It's not a blood feud just yet.
No.
So, so it's like, okay, well, we want the women in the main event. Becky Lynch right now is our Hulk Hogan, so she has to be in the main event, and everyone around her, by virtue of being anchored to her, get to be in the main event too. So they get the TLC match, even though it wasn't really earned. Like, I thought the main event was going to be Bobby Lashley versus Rusev, because honestly, it's the only it's the only match on this that seemed like it had a solid build to it for what seems like 2 months now.
Sure. Yeah, I think that's been going on since like September even. It's a long time coming for this.
Right. So I figured this would have been the blow off, and that really is what should have had the TLC. They had the tables match, but it's like it's like a check mark thing. It's like, well, we need one gets a ladder match, one gets a tables match, and at least one gets a TLC match. Mm-hmm. And then it's just trying to figure out what they have going on and how they can best fit it into the rubric that they force themselves into, instead of having things fall into a natural progression and a blow-off. So, and the other thing about it is, what if you need this later, earlier in the year? Like, you really have a good blood feud going that needs the advent of a TLC match. Well, it's like, well, it's not December yet. It's true.
You hit that right on the head there, because I mean, the TLC matches, they were a natural progression, because you had the three disparate tag teams that each had their gimmick. You had Edge and Christian with the chairs. You had the Hardys who climbed ladders. You had the Dudleys who put people through tables. So it was just this natural thing that came together. They each bring their specialty gimmick and just make this one crazy match. There's no reason for it now. It could be, like a lemon tree mop and and carpet cleaner, a carpet steamer. Right now, just pick three weapons. It could be anything, but it's just silly. It does really take the wind out of it, because I mean, we had that Kevin Owens and Shane McMahon feud that just wouldn't end this past summer. It's like they could have built that into something like this, but it wasn't December, so they couldn't do it. And instead, we get a feud, like you said, that didn't earn this sort of a cachet that winds up getting it just because it happened now, this time of year.
Yeah, and then we'll get the Elimination Chamber in February, and that to me has lost a lot of its. I mean, it's a brutal match. It can't not be a brutal match. It involves fucking chains,
sure,
and and steel grates that people fall on their head to.
Oh yeah. No, that lost its cachet to me back when it was like, okay, they want to do a pay-per-view with it, okay, whatever. But then it was like, okay, we have 2 or 3 of them in a show. It wasn't just one Elimination Chamber match at the Elimination Chamber pay-per-view. It was 2 or 3. And then I was seeing some of the people that were in it, because one of the things that Jim Ross and the King would talk about on commentary is he's been in 3 Elimination Chambers, and that meant something. When you're talking about Randy Orton, it's he was in it, he was in 2, and that's a big deal. And then it's you see these multiple Elimination Chamber matches in one show, and it's Carlito's in there, Chris Masters is in there, Kozlov is in there.
Shut your whore mouth. That one was fantastic.
But it just took so much of the just the epicness out of it to have mid-carders in there.
Yeah.
Even Christian in there. It's if we're doing this for the Intercontinental belt now, what is this?
Your strongest point is the fact that they do more than one of these per show. You used to have to wait 2.5 hours, and then okay, finally it's here. They start the show with this now.
Yep, absolutely.
So they kick off the show with one of the brands. I mean, and now it's I think they don't even they can't do 3 in a show, so they do one for the men and one for the women.
Yeah,
it's the same thing with the Royal Rumble. Which, look, I'm all for giving the women opportunities. Like the men, and I love the women's Royal Rumble when they did it. But 2 Royal Rumbles in the same show?
Yeah, especially when we had a third one that year too. We had that greatest one in Saudi Arabia.
Oh, and it certainly was. I lost track of who was
man.
in that match.
Well, the Ultimate Warrior was there. Yokozuna was there, and that was the great one where it was like, it's like, okay, send the guy out, and then 18 seconds later, okay, send the next guy out. Then
Yeah.
12 seconds later, okay, get the next guy out.
I
Just
used-
a real joke.
I used to love the novelty of WCW's World War III because I'd never seen like a 3-ring, 60-man battle royal. But I've like heard shoot interviews where even the wrestlers were like, you couldn't fucking move in there.
No, even with 3 rings, that's still a lot of humanity.
Yeah. It ends up being 20 guys per ring. And it's not always like they say like an even 20 guys either. It's, people are going from one ring to the next. I think it was Conrad via Luke Gallows who made the comment of a battle royal or something, whatever offshoot of the battle royal format is you and your good brothers trading forearms.
Yep.
Because you can't do anything else.
That's what it is, yeah. Yeah, and with World War III, the poor guys were struggling to stay in camera shot because you didn't know. I mean, the way they put that on television, it's like, is that Greg Valentine? It's 1998 and Greg Valentine's in the ring? You didn't know where to look. The poor guys were like crammed into like one corner of the ring because they knew that's where the camera was. It was just a disaster. And
all this to say that it's just, on the one hand, the novelty of an all-women's Royal Rumble, or Elimination Chamber, and more to the bigger point of, knowing that you're going to get these things. Like I get the WWE's mentality. Like I'm always sympathetic to like the business point of view, because I think you hear in like a lot of these podcasts, for guys like us, you always get like the anti-business point of view. You get the fan point of view. But I think someone needs to speak up for why businesses make some of the crazy decisions that they do. And so I guess that'll be me in this instance. I get the idea of we're selling tickets in advance for a show, and we want to make sure people, so like you buy tickets to the Elimination Chamber or TLC in this particular case. At least what you're going to get at least one TLC match. As opposed to I bought tickets to WWE presents Ham Sandwich, and I don't have any idea who or what's going to be on it. Sure. And at a time where ticket sales are in the toilet as it is, you need the gimmicks. And to your point, it's corporate is corporate, and it's just what things are now. It's not a good thing. It's not a bad thing. It's just the thing that is. And I don't see it changing anytime soon. And I don't think they see any reason to change it anytime soon. Why risk something that's working? No, but I think it's worth a discussion to have. Is like why do we have to have a TLC every year? Sure. I think the solution to this is you don't have to change it. I don't love it. But I know why they're doing it, and it's not going anywhere. But maybe build up to it then. Like maybe have more than one feud need a blood feud blow off. I just don't think that they're talented enough storytellers for that, unfortunately, because we've seen build-ups to TLC shows in the past, and it's like all of a sudden Big Show will have a giant chair. It's like, oh well, I guess it's December. Or like they'll go into the ring, and instead of pulling out a table, they'll pull out like 18 ladders. It's like, oh, okay, it's December, so that's what we're gonna do. So like their idea of building, and we're gonna talk a little bit more about building up characters pretty soon into the show here, but it's so inch deep, mile wide, and just flailing. It's just lowest the storytelling where it's you get the bare minimum just to get the point across without any kind of subtlety, without any kind of nuance. But it is what it is. It is what it is. My only other point with this is if you're gonna have a match where one guy puts where one team puts the other team through 4 tables in succession, maybe don't do a tables match the following month within a few weeks. I'm just saying. No doubt. All right, on your kickoff show, you have Humberto Carrillo versus Andrade with Zelina Vega. I watched this while we were putting up the Christmas tree, so I kind of had one eye on my kids and one eye on the TV. And these are both capable, athletic, flippity-doo fellas. They seem to, especially with what they did on Raw the following night, they seem to be pushing Andrade as this killer, with Carrillo being the babyface who takes an ungodly beating. I thought this was a fine, average, serviceable WWE style match with two athletic Latino fellows.
I agree. I actually saw this one too. I hate the ending. Andrade is like one of my favorite guys going right now, and I hate seeing him built up just to lose. And look at Humberto Carrillo here is kind of symptomatic of the way WWE builds baby faces now. It's just like this like, aw shucks, golly gee, happy to be here, fiery, poly purebred baby face, where it's, you have Carrillo, you have Gable, we have Mustafa Ali, we got Ricochet. It's like they're all capable guys, all talented guys, all entertaining guys to watch, but the characters suck, and they're all the same, and they're all just like golly gee babyface, which I don't know. I don't have any kind of time for that, and to see Andrade go down to this guy is I'm just not a fan of that.
What kills me is it's not like it ever really works. I mean, there's this very recent but lengthy history of more colorful people gaining the fans' interest, and the beige, vanilla, smiling baby face being booed out of the building.
Absolutely.
So I don't know why they keep doing it.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just like they just keep going back to that well. Because when I saw Carrillo come out the first time when he was fighting AJ, it was just like, oh, here we go again. Just another smiling baby face. And I'm just waiting for them to team him with Ricochet. It's like, oh, there's two of them.
Yeah.
It's just like Roman's little buddies, Gable and Ali. It's like, why? They're just smiley baby faces, so they got to all be pals and really just be bland together.
The New Day, Big E and Kofi Kingston defeated the Revival, Scott Dawson and Dash Wilder, in a ladder match. And again, this one as a blow-off, assuming it's a blow-off, made sense to me because the Revival and the New Day have been trading wins back and forth, and I think the Revival may have had a cup of tea with the belts there for a bit. So, hang them high, hit them low. Here we go. The Revival I don't think are capable of having a bad match. And Kofi Kingston and Big E have been working together for a number of years now, and they work very well. They have good chemistry. I thought this was good. I thought you'd have to go pretty far to fuck up a ladder match.
True.
I mean, when the big sell of the ladder match is watching guys fall off ladders, it would be hard to mess it up and make it boring.
But, they don't teach people to fall off those ladders. Jim Ross told me that a few times. They don't teach people to fall off those ladders. So.
That's right. There's no such thing as he knows how to fall.
Yes.
I thought it was fine. I mean, it was entertaining while I was watching it. I think the problem is the ladder match. It's getting harder and harder to find a novel wrestling gimmick in 2019 and almost 2020. So the ladder has been done to death.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of the spots. Here's the problem: you really have to know. It's like making a film. You have to have somebody there willing to say no, or it becomes building erector sets for 20 minutes.
Yes.
And then, it's like a house of cards or a series of dominoes where you just spend 20 minutes setting everything up and then you knock everything over. You know what I mean?
Totally agree. Yes, That is the bane of the ladder match now, because it is all that. It's all very contrived, just choreographed spots to where, like you said, they're building. It's all building to be dropped through or dropped on into or had dropped on you. I thought this was a really good match. I thought this was I see the revival, and I all I can picture is the whiny bullshit they do online now. So it's like I want to see them lose like every single time, which is a shame because I think they're supremely talented guys. They're always entertaining, but they just come off as such dicks online, just such dick bags. And I want to see them lose, and I want to see them leave because it's like quit taunting. I don't care where you're headed, just go there or don't. Just get over it. But this match was pretty fantastic. There was a spot at the end where Big E hit the big ending off the ladder, which was a little bit like one of those like heart stopping sort of things, because it's like that's a big dude, and they came down flat.
I remember Triple H giving an interview about like why things had to change after the Attitude Era, and other than the fact that there's more money to be had in advertising when you have a general audience versus a very niche male, this age to that age audience, which is what they had been doing. He also made a point of saying we had to tone it back. We had to tone some of the violence back. We were going to kill someone.
Sure.
And so
it wouldn't have meant anything because it would have just been another move.
And I watched some of these ladder matches, and there's always like one or two spots. Generally speaking, there's one or two spots. And again, I wish you watched AEW, especially the events in the run up to Dynamite. Like, you don't have to watch Dynamite. Nobody does anymore. That fad was gone after about 6 weeks. No, I kid, AEW fans. I'm just kidding. But if you should be bored one day, if you need a break from studying, and you want to watch an example of the kind of thing I'm talking about in terms of, the Daffy Duck thing of you have to kill yourself now in order to get over.
Sure.
Complete with, devil suit. The Young Bucks versus the Lucha Brothers.
Okay.
Their ladder matches were insane, and I thought the Young Bucks were dead.
Wow.
Like, I legit thought the Lucha Brothers killed the Young Bucks.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah, it's like, imagine any one of the Hardy Boy ladder matches, and then imagine they shot the Hardy Boys after.
They set them on fire and shot them.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Yeah, because it's how long can you keep that up? Because if you do it once, the next time you're out there, you got to top it.
Right.
Because then people compare. They'll say you're being lazy if you don't. And to Triple H's point there, it ends when somebody dies, because that's what the natural progression is.
Right.
And then where do you go after that? Well, we killed a guy. We got to kill two now.
Right. Now we got to kill them and their dog.
Yes.
Now we have to drop the audience off a ladder. It's
All of them.
Yes, it's interactive. It's participatory. So that, and I think that's my biggest criticism of this ladder match was, in isolation, it was a fine, serviceable ladder match. All of these guys are competent, entertaining performers. Compared to the 186 other ladder matches I've seen in just the last year, it was okay. It was memorable.
Just another one.
Yeah. Like, I'm not the kind of guy that takes notes through these. So, like, I remember I remember, like, again, they're doing the erector set stuff. Mm-hmm. Where they're spending way too much time building shit. And there were a couple of nasty spots where, like, after it, like, please don't be on TV for a while.
They're going to come back with a Band-Aid.
Yeah. At least, like, the Hardy Boys, the next night after, like, a WrestleMania ladder match or, TLC or whatever, would come limping out.
They're limping. Yeah, they're holding their necks, and they're
Right.
walking at a snail's pace instead of just trotting out, doing their little twirl and having a Band-Aid.
Yeah. Aleister Black, which got the funniest reaction out of my daughter. She was like, why is he being lifted up like that? It's great. Defeated Buddy Murphy in 13 minutes and 45 seconds. Probably could have shaved 3 minutes and 45 seconds off of this. It really didn't need to go past 10 minutes. These guys looked like they potatoed each other with kicks a bunch of times.
Yeah.
It was fine. If you're into sort of the strong style, kind of potatoing each other and getting that real nice sound effect when you make impact, this was your kind of match, and I was mildly entertained. What did you think?
I was for the first, what was this, 13 minutes? For like the first maybe 11 minutes, I was kind of just like there. For the last couple minutes, though, it was some real smooth striking. It had those very satisfying slap sounds. I thought it was a really clever ending. I like how they built the Black Mass, or what is that what they call it, the Black Mass? Is that what this kick is? I like how that was kind of an out of nowhere sort of thing. I do like the other way he does it, like where he like kind of rests his foot under the guy's chin and like picks him up with his foot and then swings around and hit it. But this worked for this match, I thought, really well. I don't know why this was on pay-per-view or whatever this is. I don't know why this made the show when, I mean, we didn't see Seth Rollins, who just turned heel. We didn't see the SmackDown Women's Champion. We didn't see a lot of people, but we see this match that, I mean, I'm sure we're going to see it another 6 or 7 times on Raw over the next couple weeks. So it's like, I don't know why it had the placement here. I did enjoy the ending. I don't know where they go from here besides just trading wins back and forth for the next little while.
You know, as a showcase for Aleister Black, who, unless they go back to the Middle East, they seem to want to push.
Yeah.
He needed to beat somebody. I don't know if he needed to beat him on pay-per-view, but there's an argument to be made, or why don't you put more guys on pay-per-view? Why does it always have to be the same people? Okay. You know, I think that's the problem, is like, we want more people on pay-per-view. We want people to have chances. Okay, here's a buddy. Not that guy.
But like, what does he get out of beating Buddy Murphy?
He gets a win.
That's it, though. I mean, it could have been a bigger win. If you're going to put it on a pay-per-view here in like one of the, I think might be the only non-gimmick match in this whole show, and you put Buddy Murphy in there. I don't know. I like Buddy, but it just seems silly.
There used to be a time where the pay-per-view, you know, everything on the pay-per-view got built up to. Mm-hmm. Everything had an angle, everything had a story, and you had 4 to 6 weeks to get there. That's part of the problem, is Survivor Series was like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So, and they have 900 hours of TV that they have to produce.
And I don't think we even had half a card a couple weeks back. So, yeah, it's a good point.
No, they literally was just like, TLC coming at you December 14th. You can't believe it. What are the matches? We don't know.
We can't believe it.
And then December 13th rolled around and we're like, here's the whole card. And we're like, oh, thanks for telling us. When the Vikings would sail the seas and land, and they would hit a local village or whatever, they fucking murdered people. They were brutal. They just the stories of Viking conquest were horrific and wonderful. Mm-hmm. So don't call the guys the Viking Raiders and have them be the headbangers, basically. Jesus fucking Christ.
That's true. That's true. I do like how these savage Vikings actually painted their faces like the football team too. So that was a nice touch there too. To take the crowd there.
If you're gonna do that kind of a gimmick, if you're gonna be a pair of berserkers, then like that was the problem when they were in NXT as the War Raiders. And then I don't know what they were prior to that. I guess this has been a gimmick.
War Machine, was it? Yeah, War Machine?
Yeah. I mean, from what I understand, they were brutal. Like,
sure.
they were a violent tag team, and they kicked the shit out of people.
Mm-hmm.
And then, you know, again, like, the main roster just... The machine of the main roster has a tendency to take the piss out of a lot of guys. So now... They have what I think is a cool gimmick, but I've heard other people complain about this. Like, divorced from any of the context where they're brutal and they're hurting guys and they're savages and they're barely containable, they just look stupid. They look like they're doing Game of Thrones cosplay.
I think they are LARPers, though, aren't they? At least one of them is.
Oh, I hope so.
Because he married, what's-her-face? Sarah Logan, and they had, like, a Viking wedding. And
Perfect.
I remember a lot of people online were a little bit troubled because, I guess, like, the Iron Cross is a sign of, like, Viking something or another. And there was, like, an Iron Cross in one of the pictures, so people kind of lost their shit over that. But
the Iron Cross was the German symbol in World War I, if I recall.
That's what I thought, too, but I remember there was one in their wedding or something like that. Something problematic was there, and people lost their shit. But
Motorhead also used it. Triple H had it on T-shirts.
Triple H wore it like it was going out of style. Yeah.
Yeah.
But so I think at least one of them's a LARPer. So they are cosplaying Game of Thrones.
I hope they bring a stuffed tiger to the ring and say it's like their real tiger, like a good LARPer. It's their familiar.
I hope they like hit each other with lightning bolts, like fake lightning bolts. Like maybe throw rice, so it makes like a crackling sound on the ground. It's like
they hit each other with
Thunderbolt.
They hit each other with like lacrosse sticks and like I hit you with my staff. God.
But yeah, this was a match. It was an open challenge, right? Is that what the gimmick was here? It
was a tag team match for the Raw Tag Team Championships with another team I'm fucking over and wish would go away. The OC, Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson. And this whole thing ended at a double count out because they didn't want to pin either team.
Oh, so bad. Since Gallows and Anderson like joined back up with AJ, I thought they were going to be protected a little bit better. But they're still trading losses with whoever they're feuding with at any given time. So they just come off as like clowns that carry around a giant meaningless trophy. This is another thing I'm going to complain about. When you promote an open challenge, I think it needs to be something bigger than just the team that they fought last week.
Yeah.
It's like the open challenge should have been, I don't know. I don't want to see people come up from NXT. They do enough of that as it is. I don't want to see a SmackDown person come over. I don't want to see brands swapping, but give us something more. Give us something more than the people that they've been feuding with as an open challenge, challenger.
Or just book it straight. Like we have a surprise.
Yeah.
We have a surprise for you. It's the same guys you always see. Surprise.
And this was the KFC match, right?
Okay, that was my other problem with this. Don't put 4 people outside the ring with mashed potatoes unless you're going through that table and mashed potatoes goes everywhere. Mm-hmm. One of those girls needed a Viking Raider in their lap.
Yes. Yeah, as soon as I saw that table, I'm like, okay, someone's going through it. And then we found out it was, just Gallows and Anderson. It's like, okay, Anderson's going through it. And sure enough, Anderson went through that damn table. But, we got these dangerous Vikings here, and we put 4 fans, like, within reach.
Why didn't the Viking Raiders go smash that table and take that chicken?
They should have eaten the chicken. I mean, Otis would have. So, like, why not the Vikings?
I think that instead of they shouldn't have done a match. They should have had, they should have, like, announced, like a jobber match or something. But then, like, the Viking Raiders come out and just, like, take the chicken and the women and beat the guys. Just leave them laying.
There you go. Live the gimmick.
That would have been perfect. We need more pillaging from the Viking Raiders.
Mm-hmm. Plunder.
Exactly. Anyway, here's the problem with a lot of WWE matches. I'm going to say, I'm talking about a lot of like contextual stuff because, like, what am I going to say about the matches? I'm not a work rate guy. I'm not a move for move guy. Mm-hmm. The Viking Raiders can move. I saw them in New York at NXT the night before WrestleMania, and they were great. Mm-hmm. They were awesome. They're never not awesome.
They're fantastically. The agility of these huge guys is off the charts. It's I've never seen them in person, but I can imagine how cool that would be.
Gallows and Anderson are also good wrestlers, so it's like you'd have to really go some to have like a shitty match. Like I think, like without even trying, you get average wrestling out of most WWE matches. Mm-hmm. So it's all the other stuff that really needs commentary. If you want like move for move stuff, there's other podcasts that really focus on that sort of thing. For me, it's it was a letdown of a surprise. It's the same feud that's been going on for a while now, and they took the piss out of the Viking Raiders to where I'm not interested in that tag team anymore.
Yeah, and they've beaten Gallows and Anderson so damn many times that it's almost impossible to build them up. Even if they put them over the Raiders in non-title matches, it's hard to get them built back up to a point where they're going to be looked at as legit, because they're just not. They've been rendered as the gatekeepers to the babyface tag teams. It's just I don't know. It's just a real crappy situation.
All right, and now we get to your 4 co-main events of the show. First, you have King Corbin, who defeated Roman Reigns in a TLC match. And look, credit where credit's due. These guys have at least had a ongoing feud. You know, I know King Corbin for a lot of people has like X-Pac go away heat, but I prefer him as King Corbin. Here's the problem. I think one of my coworkers today referred to me as like passively antagonistic, which I thought is a really good way to describe me. And I am attracted to people who are also like antagonistic in the face of like real go away heat. Like if you know what I mean, like people hate Baron Corbin. They don't think he's interesting. A lot of the stuff they've done in the past year or two have really turned people off from him. And yet they push him. But it works because he's a heel and you're supposed to hate him. As opposed to Roman Reigns, who people also want to go away, but he's a face and this isn't working and they keep trying regardless. So the fact that King Corbin is just is such a schmuck, and he's so over the top, and he has so much anti-charisma, I find hilarious and wildly entertaining.
I fell asleep during this match.
Sweet.
I cannot think of another time where I've actually fallen asleep during a professional wrestling match, an event, much less a match, and I fell asleep during this match. I saw the very end of it, and I think I fell asleep during the recap package. And King Corbin is he is not go away heat for me. He is fast forward heat for me. If I see him on the screen, I'm hitting fast forward. I'm not going to sit through anything that has him in it, because they've just shit him out. I mean, in NXT he had that like lone wolf gimmick, which worked. I thought that was cool.
Oh, he was crushing bitches.
Sure. They were like, they had the crowd like counting. They counted how many seconds his matches took because he was just running through the people. They put him on SmackDown. They put him on that Talking Smack show, where he shows amazing personality. He's just like this real like nihilistic dickhead. And it's like, this is a dude that we could like get behind and actually legitimately hate, but the character is so cool, it's going to get over in the other way, and people are going to like this guy. And then they put him out here in like a vest, and he looks like a total douche. And I think he's gotten worse in the ring. He's somehow gotten worse in the ring, because he wasn't great shakes in the beginning anyway. It's just not my guy. And Roman is Roman. There's going to be no change in that. He's the one member of the Shield that they're not going to turn heel.
I don't remember if it was the Survivor Series show or a different one where I said to Chris Bailey, "Can we please be done with the Shield era?"
Yeah.
It's 2020. I feel like it's been 10 years of this. Yeah.
Damn near.
The Shield has at least existed since WrestleMania 30.
It was November 2012.
Yeah. So almost 10 years of the same three guys. I mean, Moxley isn't in the company anymore, but if you think about it, the last decade or so has been the transition out of Cena and Batista. Went in, you had like a Daniel Bryan, CM Punk thing kind of transition, but really the last bulk of it, their main event guys have been revolving around the Shield.
Yeah.
Seth Rollins, Dean Ambrose, and Roman Reigns. And it's like, okay, I've seen enough of this now. Move on to new people.
Yeah, that's one of the main problems with, current year wrestling is that eras last so long. And it's why so many things are such a blur. I mean, I can think back to, like the first 5 or 6 years of pay-per-view, and it's like I almost remember every single match. I was very young for them, but I've gone back and watched them. And it makes you feel like Hogan was on top for like 15 years. But when you look back, it's like it wasn't quite that long, And then you look at Warrior, and it's like, oh, he was around forever. And it's like, no, he was around very, very short.
I can tell you,
years have grown.
Every single pay-per-view main event, from Shawn Michaels' WrestleMania 12 victory through Steve Austin's first year.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, and then after that, it just all kind of just blends together.
Yep.
Yeah,
Part of the reason why I remember it is because it was all one flowing story.
Yeah. Yeah, it was almost like a Chris Claremont sort of story where it's you had the little things in the undercard that would bubble up, and then there was like an ebb and a flow between the upper and middle card where everything kind of just was woven together into this like at the risk of sounding precious, it's like a tapestry of sorts that just made the whole federation tell a single story with just a huge cast, and they just don't have that anymore. Now it's and I mean, this is, we're not breaking any new ground by saying this. It's not about the stars anymore. It's about the company, and it's all about everything is in service of the brand. And it wasn't always that way. Maybe it was low key, but now it's definitely out front. It's all about the brand, and these eras just grow to fit what they need, and it's dull. It's very boring. I remember watching the Monday Night Wars DVD that they put out like right after they bought WCW, maybe a couple of years afterwards. And Eddie Guerrero was explaining what was going on in WCW. He's like, if you turned on our show, you couldn't tell what month it was because it was always the same stuff. And right now, we don't know what year it is because it's like the Shield came in 2012 and it's been the same ever since.
Yeah.
So it's just the same stuff.
Like, I have a couple of moments that I remember having big reactions to. Obviously, Daniel Bryan winning the title at WrestleMania 30.
Absolutely.
Was like, I cried. Like, I was I grown man tears. Brock beating The Undertaker, which at the time I really thought was like a mistake. Like The Undertaker was supposed to kick out. Like, I think I went on a podcast that night, and I'm like, I don't think that was really the ending.
He was knocked out. He must have been.
Yeah. I remember a lot of the Shield stuff because I was really into the Shield, and so Seth Rollins cashing in the Money in the Bank after Brock Lesnar beat the living shit out of Roman Reigns.
Yep.
That's all great stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But it's hard. But as you were saying, it's hard for me to really keep in my head a lot of great memories of the last 10 years outside of those handful, versus the fact that I can tell you the entire story from Shawn Michaels to WrestleMania 15.
Oh yeah,
without missing a single main event. Sure.
I totally believe you. It's just I mean, even back then, I used to be able to like cite actual Raws, the everything was just so important. Where now it's just another night, and that's just how they treat it. We off the air we talked about how these pay-per-views here, these super shows or whatever you want to call them, they just feel like glorified house shows now because all that matters is the big 4 nights of the year, and this is just another night that doesn't matter. And when we do whatever pay-per-view happens when we do WrestleMania show in March or April, we're not going to remember a single thing on this card.
No. I won't remember anything that happened on this card by the time we get to the Royal Rumble.
It's true.
Let me say this. I saw somebody put on Twitter that if you bought tickets for WrestleMania without knowing what was going to be on the card, you're a fool. And I'm like, I don't understand that mentality. You go to WrestleMania because it's an event.
It's a spectacle. Yeah.
It's like going to the circus. I have no idea what I'm going to see when I go to. I know you're not going to see animals anymore because we fucking killed that. You go to Monster Jam, the Monster Truck Rally, and I mean, basically what's going to happen. Cars are going to go in a circle. But you go because it's Monster Jam, and you want to take your kids, or if you're into that sort of thing as an adult, you go and you have fun. And the show is whatever it's going to be. Mm-hmm. It's not like I'm going to Monster Jam because I gotta see fucking Dino.
I want to see Gravedigger.
Yeah, Gravedigger. Fucking cares. You're going because you want to see Rex. That's really why you're going.
I heard something about Monster Jam. When you buy a ticket, it actually pays for the whole seat, but you're only going to need the edge.
Perfect. But I will say this, going into WrestleMania last year, I was excited about the triple threat with Becky, Charlotte, and Ronda, because that was the best story going.
Yeah,
the stuff those chicks did was fan-fucking-tastic.
Yeah. No, it made the whole thing worked, yeah.
Ask me if I remember most of whatever else was on that show. I kind of remember the Daniel Bryan accidental Kofi run. And I was happy. I was happy when Kofi won the title, just because it was like, hey, your loyalty to this billion-dollar company paid off. Good for you, buddy. And I was happy for him. The Seth Rollins, Brock Lesnar stuff, I vaguely remember, and I certainly remember how that match went because it started off the show. It was before
the show off, yeah.
Yeah, a lot of it in the middle though. I couldn't tell you if you threatened my children.
I'm trying to think. I mean, was Shane McMahon in a match?
Yeah, with The Miz.
Oh, God.
If you were there live, you couldn't see.
Yeah, because it was all over the... Okay, I forgot all about that feud. Holy smokes. Yeah, you're right.
So all this to say that they're still pushing Roman Reigns, and even if he takes a loss as he did at TLC, it took 900 guys to beat him. He's the fucking Undertaker.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
Remember the first Buried Alive match?
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. Triple H was out there. Everybody was out there.
The whole heel roster was out there.
Oh, and then a few years before that with the casket match with Yokozuna, they had Tenru out there. Everybody out there shoving him in the casket so Marty Jannetty could be hoisted into the rafters after that. But this doesn't help anybody. All it does is make King Corbin look like a heel, and it's like, well, we know he's a heel.
Yeah, he doesn't need any help
and it puts Dolph Ziggler back on the TV. So,
yeah, whoopee.
Which is okay, I guess. I don't know.
And the strangest match of the night, Bray Wyatt, not the Fiend, so we didn't get that stupid red light. Mm-hmm. Bray Wyatt, in his sweater, defeated the Family Man, The Miz, in 6 minutes and 40 seconds. Mm-hmm. And I guess the gimmick of this one was that Bray Wyatt is a pussy who can't fight when he's not the Fiend.
I think so. Or he's like a... they were doing some sort of masochistic thing where he was enjoying the pain and begging for it and not putting his hands up the block, and the whole thing was very bizarre. I think the most bizarre part about this match that took me out of it from before the bell even rang. I mean, this is the lead up to this. Bray Wyatt is screwing with the Miz's family, right? That's the whole gimmick. They have they've been showing vignettes of at Miz's house, someone was in his daughter's bedroom. It's alluded to that Bray Wyatt was screwing around, leaving weird dolls in his infant daughter's bedroom. So it's the Miz is really pissed off. He stomps upstairs to, his wife gets him. He stomps upstairs, but before he goes into his daughter's room, he pauses like he's in a horror movie to catch his breath. You can see a red light pouring out of her bedroom, and he stops to look at the camera and like before he goes in. That doesn't ring to me as a father. You know, a father would be like in there with both feet, both hands, just running in there to tear things up. He actually stopped to do the dramatic pose. Here with the match, so this is, you know, this dude's messing with this dude's kids. This should be a blood feud. This should be the Miz charging out with weapons and do just real badass stuff. Before his music starts, he put on his sparkly headband.
Yeah.
He put on his sunglasses. He put on his big sparkly jacket.
I'm so glad you mentioned that.
His music starts. He gets to the friggin' stage. He does his point, his twirl, his twist, his little flourish, and he struts down to the ring as if he's in the in a match with Dolph Ziggler. What the hell is that?
Yeah.
I just don't get it. This is the stupidest shit. I mean, when the bell rang, he showed a little bit of fire, but it's like,
by the
dude,
way,
you got dressed.
This guy went after his kid, and he allowed him to walk down the rampway and then pose in the ring like Steve Austin.
Yeah, and go back to the fans time and again to get adulation. He didn't just jump him halfway down the aisle. He didn't beat the shit out of him backstage before the match started. This was just a wrestling angle, which it really just, after everything they built up over the past 3 or 4 weeks, is just so damn stupid.
This is the problem. Like, years ago, the WWE was like, we want Hollywood writers. And I think you can make use of Hollywood writers, but you have to have wrestling people there to direct them. Mm-hmm. Because they're going to do their level best to tell you a scripted story.
Sure. Something that's blocked right in the cameras. Yeah, absolutely.
And I hate to sound like old man yells at cloud or, member berries and, all the other things that people say nowadays. But I am. I'm a 43-year-old man, and this is the shit that I remember because it worked and it was actually well told. You've got lust in your eyes, Hulk Hogan. Randy Macho Man Savage did not wait for Hulk Hogan to leave the locker room area when he was pissed off about him carrying Liz out of Saturday night's main event. He ran back there and ran off screen. Mm-hmm. The cameraman had a hard time capturing the shot. Yeah. He was ready to murder Hulk Hogan. And it was all an angle. It was all to sell WrestleMania 5. Mm-hmm. But in that moment, at that time, you could easily believe Randy Savage wanted to murder Hulk Hogan.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. Yeah, that was talent. That was heat. This was showbiz.
I don't believe they're not cooperating with one another to tell a children's story.
Yeah. And I've been a Miz fan for I was like you said, you were really touched when Daniel Bryan won the title. I was really touched when The Miz won the title because just knowing what we knew about him. I never watched whatever Road Rules or whatever the hell show he was on, but I just knew that his whole gimmick throughout his whole time on TV was that he was this huge wrestling fan. And to see him actually hold this title, it meant a lot to me because I knew it meant a lot to him.
The Miz has done 3 cool things his entire wrestling career. Mm-hmm. That promo where he's walking and talking about having to eat
JBL throwing him out?
Yeah. When he was walking through the ring as he told his story. That was a really cool promo. That's what set him up for the big WrestleMania win. Mm-hmm. His partnership with the often misunderstood and underutilized R-Truth.
R-Truth is the best.
When those two were together, and R-Truth was basically saying that WWE is a giant racist company, and that he has to shuck and jive in order to get a paycheck, and smile, and they completely misunderstood the point he was trying to make when he was like, because little Jimmy needs me to dance.
They gave him an imaginary friend.
Ugh. I mean, we talk about how Becky Lynch doesn't understand why she's popular, and neither does anyone else. This is an ongoing problem with this company.
It's true.
Because the R-Truth basically goes crazy and starts calling the WWE, and I know it was like all planned thing, but he did it so well. He basically was like, I'm a minstrel because that's all you want me to be.
Oh, he came out in the Confederate soldier outfit one night. I mean, they should have given him the belt.
They really should have
given him the belt. He was so over the top and fantastic. He is such a supremely talented guy.
Those two, when they were together, calling the WWE out on its infinite bullshit, was some of the best TV I saw at that time. Then when he went off on Daniel Bryan on Talking Smack,
that was great too.
Yeah, where he was spitting mad and couldn't get the words out.
Oh, that was great. Yeah, there was that one more thing that they, I think it was like as they were building up to, like literally as they were building up to his match with Cena at WrestleMania, they had that "Hate Me" video where like Miz is standing in front of like these monitors, and like I don't know anything about hip hop or rap, but the song "Hate Me" was playing, and his whole story was told in that video, and it was very well done.
And so the WWE occasionally, and the Miz by extension, sometimes fall ass backwards into amazingness.
Into success, yeah.
But most of the time it's this shit. It's contrived.
Yeah. Oh, so bad. So bad.
So this is a match where it was... And I went through that whole backstory to basically say that sometimes the WWE falls ass backwards into a well-told wrestling story. But more often than not, they... You know, Vince McMahon is famous for saying... We're making movies here, pal. You're fucking not. You're fucking not. I review movies. I watch them. I study this stuff. You're fucking not.
No, this was the whole thing, because I don't think they know what they have in this Wyatt character, because you know they get to the point where like they get to the 1 yard line of it being pretty cool.
Yeah.
And then they get sacked 10 yards back. You know, somebody comes, lifts them up, and drives them 10 yards back. Because as they're doing this, like, it was actually kind of cool that the crowd is chanting, "Let him in." I mean, the crowd have bought into this character where it's like Bray is this pacifist, but the Fiend is this masochist. And the crowd is chanting to let him in. And, like, you can see it's starting to get to him, but they don't know what to do with it from there. Like, they're not going to – were they going to have to roll under the ring, put on a mask and a juggler outfit, and then come back out? And they got to figure out how that's going to work.
And that's like, if you and I write a screenplay, right? You and I right now sat down and, like, we're going to hash out a 3-act movie. And then when we're done with it, right, we're not done. No. We're either going to do it ourselves after a break, or we're going to get somebody to go through it and rewrite it. And then after that, it's going to go through some changes and editing and go through a third draft. And then when we're finally like, okay, we've gotten it produced, we have a budget, now we're going to go shoot this thing. Someone else is going to rewrite it again so it can actually be shot.
So it can work, yeah.
You know, a shooting script. You don't have that fucking luxury.
You don't.
When you're doing a wrestling angle.
No, and I mean the ending of this thing was so stupid. You know, the Bray wins. It was non-title. Was it a championship match? I don't. It doesn't even matter. I guess
the notes don't say it is. I can't even fucking tell anymore.
But I mean, he on the screen, the Fiend shows up. A static image of the Fiend, his face. It's not even like a video. It's just a static image of the face, and the whole time, Corey Graves is selling the fact that he sees this face on the screen. Michael Cole goes, "Do you see what's on the Tron, Corey? Do you see what's on the Tron?" It's like, what? It's a giant face. Everybody sees the goddamn thing. It's like they got to hammer this thing home. There's no subtlety.
No.
It's and like Bray is like freaking out saying he's here. You know, he's really busting his ass to get this over as something bigger than a wrestling thing. And then we have Cole. Look at the Tron. Oh my. It's just so bad. And then Bray goes and gets that stupid ass hammer.
Commentary. Hang on. Let me get there. Just a comment on the commentary. Commentary by monkeys fucking a football. is unfucking believable.
They were just the incredulousness of the like. They treated this thing like a Doink the Clown match. Like
Yeah.
it was absurd. Instead of being scary, which it's supposed to be. I mean, you know, a lot of the Bray Wyatt gimmick, and I watched. I've been doing a little marathon of the very early Full Sail NXTs, and they do the whole introduction of Bray Wyatt as the a Louisiana cult leader or whatever, and his whole gimmick is just so deep and so just it's like a magic gimmick because it doesn't have all the magic bullshit on top of it. His first match was against Aiden English, and like the commentary, I think it was like Byron Saxton and maybe Jim Ross, and they're just like no, maybe William Regal, and they were like they don't understand this guy. So their whole thing was like we don't know what this guy is going to do. This guy is weird. This guy is twisted. And like in the ring, you have Bray smash into Aiden English, then dance with him like they're in a ballroom, and then hit the Sister Abigail's kiss. And then as he's pinning him, he's cradling his head. It's like all these awesome little character beats there. And the commentary there was like, we don't know what we just saw. What is this? With this, it's over here. It's like instead of them being scared of this character, they're just like, well, I don't. What is this? Is crazy. Oh, does he like pain? Oh my! The commentary does this whole entire thing such a huge disservice that it's like stillborn.
I don't know if you have like nieces or nephews that are in like the 5-6 range, but like I have a 5-year-old, and my daughter is now 8. She was once upon a time 5-6 years old. Mm-hmm. At that age, children have no inner monologue.
Sure.
They just blurt fucking shit out. This past year we went trick-or-treating, and there are new neighbor kids in my in-laws' neighborhood that my kids met and befriended instantaneously, and they all trick-or-treated together. And I got there kind of late, and I roll up, and my wife's like, hey, we're over here, we're going trick-or-treating. And I kiss my kids, and I'm like, okay, let's go. One of their little friends that they just met looks at me and goes, you're fat. Just wasn't trying to be insulting, wasn't doing commentary. He was stating a fact, and the father was fucking mortified.
I'm sure.
like the father's trying to like be friends with us and be cool, or whatever. His kid's like, "You're fat." And he's like, "Oh God, just kill me." And and now he's like yelling at the kid. He's like, oh, "How dare you?" And I'm like, "Well, he's not wrong." Just don't yell at the kid for stating the patently obvious. And that's the WWE commentary for you.
It is.
It's 5-year-olds yelling out, "You're fat."
That's very apt, yes.
Anyway, all of that to say that this didn't work. This was overthought. This was half-baked. I don't know how you can be half-baked and overthought, but somehow they pulled it off. They pulled it off better than they did this match.
Yeah.
I like the idea of like when Bray Wyatt wrestles as Mr. Rogers, he can't wrestle.
Yeah,
but then, cool. but then you're right. The Miz shouldn't have put on his fucking sparkly pimp coat.
Yeah,
he should have just walked out to the ring ready to beat fucking Bray's face in. And when Bray walked out, he should have like waved, and Miz should have ran up to him and hit him with brass fucking knuckles.
Oh, yeah, he should have been walking out taping his fists, wearing jeans, not dressed for a wrestling match, not dressed to do your little spin flourish point on the stage. That just took me out of this right off the bat. It just we talk about suspending disbelief with a lot of this stuff, with all of it. And that was my Rubicon. That was my step too far. I was like, okay, this doesn't even matter. This is stupid.
Yeah, it was too much. All right, and so the one real feud that they really built up to, and they've spent a lot of time with, this has been going on for a few months now, with Lana and Rusev, and then by extension,
we have Daniel Bryan returning.
She sure did.
He did. That's about it, though.
I haven't the faintest idea what WWE was trying to tell me with Daniel. Do you see Daniel Bryan? Do you see how he looks? Yeah, he fucking got a haircut. He doesn't look homeless. Terrific. Is that supposed to mean something?
Yeah, I don't know what the...
Oh,
you know,
we got to talk about the Harley Quinn hammer.
oh yes, the big hammer.
Okay, I'm gonna let you go first because this gives me a headache.
It's bad. It's very bad. It just it's just so bad. It doesn't look. It's not the weapon I would give him. If he's got to have a weapon, it wouldn't be that.
Giant fucking clown hammer. You think?
Yeah. This is
no
good.
You don't watch the Harley Quinn show. You don't have DC Universe, right?
I do not.
Okay. There's a Harley Quinn cartoon that's made for adults. It's whatever the rating on TV is for adults only. There's no nudity that I can see, but there's a lot of cursing and a lot of blood and gore. There's a scene early on in the series. I mean, it just started. Only like 2 or 3 episodes into it. But like Harley Quinn swinging around her giant hammer, and when she does, she's like breaking guys' faces, breaking bones. There's blood and bones going in every which direction.
Sure.
It's like over-the-top gross violence, which is what the show is supposed to be, which is fine. But it also goes to the fact that if you swing a giant mallet full force into someone's face, you're going to knock their teeth
them.
and their brains out.
Yeah.
So again, why don't you just give him a gun?
The only way that would have worked is if he would have hit the Miz with it and it would have squeaked. That's the only way that would have worked. Because it's like, okay, that's.
But I don't even know why How does giant clown mallet go
manifest under a ring?
Well, that and how does it go along with I'm a demon? I'm half Mr. Rogers and I'm half a demon, and I'm also Harley Quinn. What?
Yeah, it's an odd Dagwood sandwich that they're building there. I don't know if maybe the clown motif of the Fiend mask is superseding the actual deeper meaning of the entire Fiend endeavor, but it's just not good. That's really lame stuff.
That is Hollywood writers in a room going and somebody else going, hey, what's popular? Oh, Harley Quinn's popular. You know Harley Quinn has a giant mallet. We should give the Fiend a giant mallet. This is why in my wildest dreams I could not work for this company, because after that line of logic, I'd throw myself out the fucking window.
Goodbye, cruel world.
The Immortal, who is he? What's he calling himself? Is it the Immortal?
Who, Lashley? He's the Almighty.
Sorry, the Almighty
the
Bobby
all
Lashley.
hyphen mighty, yes.
I need Tyson Fury versus Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania. I'll settle for Bobby Lashley versus Brock Lesnar. Someone finally give me the match I've always wanted. Brock Lesnar versus Brock Lesnar. Anyway, so Bobby Lashley with Lana and Rusev in his Russian drug dealer tracksuits that he likes to wear. This was fine. I don't understand why their blow off is Rusev going through a table. Like, they've been so you want to talk about a guy who they've pushed almost to the moon just to pull the rug out from under him and have him fall all the way back down the card again. And Rusev is one of those magical guys who, no matter how many times they beat the fuck out of him, they take everything away from him, they push him down the card, somehow, I don't understand what is it about Vince, what he sees or what he thinks when he looks at Rusev and says, you don't deserve to be champion. Mm-hmm. I get it with Carlito, with James Bond, who fucking Cesaro, thank you. I get it with Cesaro, even though we all see it, I get why Vince McMahon's sort of blind to the magic that is Cesaro. Mm-hmm. Rusev came out on a fucking tank years ago against Cena. It was one of my favorite WrestleMania moments ever. And
one of the few we can remember.
Yeah, one of the few of the modern era that I can remember distinctly. That whole pay-per-view, by the way, was full of moments where I was like... But that's besides the point. They let him ride out in a tank, and then they take it away from him, and then he bounces back from obscurity with Rusev Day, and they take that away from him. Now it's like, hey, we're gonna bang your wife on TV, with this bodybuilding black guy. Is that cool? Sure.
Yeah, whatever.
And he's still fucking over. Yeah. He's a hero. People were chanting for him. They were dying for him to win. As much as nobody gave a shit if Roman Reigns lost, people were clamoring for Rusev to win. And he gets put through a table. Yep. I don't understand why.
Yeah, I don't think it was ever in question. When they announced this was a tables match, it's like, okay, Rusev's going through a table because they're not going to beat Lashley yet.
Why? Listen, who gives a shit about Bobby Lashley? Vince, when the most entertaining thing about Bobby Lashley was Leo Rush.
Yeah, I mean, he's somewhere else now. Yeah, but I had a glimmer of hope there toward the end when it looked like there was going to be a reversal, even if it's like a cheap win. I thought maybe Rusev was going to get it, but Lana might be like the most uncoordinated and untalented athlete to ever grace a professional wrestling ring. She's never in the right spot. She's always out of position. She's awkward as hell. I mean, to jump ahead to Raw, I mean, she asked Lashley to have her marry herself or something like that. She can't cut a promo. She can't hit a move. And like the entire ending of this match was hinging on her distracting him, but it didn't even look like she was. It was like she was just like kind of like lingering a little bit, and then Lashley took care of it.
Lana talks in dubbed English. Like, I know she's really speaking English, but it always sounds like somebody doing voiceover.
It does. It does. But yeah, this was pretty bad. It was December, so it had to be a table match.
Yeah. All right, and then we get to the best match of the night. Like, they really did save the best for last. Like, probably shouldn't have gone on last. Like, Bobby Lashley versus Rusev should have. But I guess, because we were talking like, oh, can't we be done with the feud? And WWE's like, we're trying. Becky Lynch.
Yeah.
It's like a kid's like, eat your broccoli. Well, I don't like broccoli. Give me something else. Fine, here's your Brussels sprouts. Mm-hmm. I feel like that was a 1-for-1 trade. So the Brussels sprouts of WWE, Becky Lynch, and Charlotte Flair versus the best women they currently have on the main roster, Asuka and Crazy Kairi Sane. The Kabuki Warriors definitely felt like, well, we got two Asians. Why don't we put them together?
Yeah.
And for a while they just seemed like a slap together group, and they kind of were. But I'll tell you, to their infinite credit, Asuka and Kairi Sane took chicken shit and turned it into the most exquisite chicken salad. They are fucking phenomenal together, from their entrance to their moveset to how they've to the misting. They have been some of the best stuff of current wrestling for me.
Oh, 100%. 100%. Yeah, they lucked, the WWE lucked into this one, because I don't think they put much more thought into, okay, well, we don't want to bring Io up yet, so we're gonna put them two together. And I think that was where they left it. And they put him with Paige. It's like, that's an afterthought.
That's because Vince, well, you can't speak English, so you can't get over. Except that both Shinsuke and Asuka got over with their presence.
Exactly.
That's what made them one of the two of the best wrestlers on the roster, was that they didn't need promos to get over. But Vince is very set in his ways.
Yeah, nothing could be different. Yeah, everything has to be paint by numbers. But no, they got real lucky with Kairi and Asuka just really tearing it up here. I think we're supposed to think that Becky and Charlotte teaming is supposed to be a much bigger deal than it actually is, because it's like this is like this epic. We
got the mega powers, the mega bucks, and the mega broads.
3 months now, or like 6 months. It's such a manufactured importance There is nothing important about this.
Can we get the Mega Broads trending?
Only if they explode. Only if they explode, then they will trend. But this whole Becky Charlotte like do-si-do they've been doing for the past several years now, it's dull. It's not special. This isn't Hogan and Savage. This isn't even Daniel Bryan and Kane, getting back together. This is two women who have been feuding with each other almost nonstop for the past several years, teaming or feuding for the past several years. And they paint this match here as them coming back together to take down these foes who they both have been able to beat on their own. I don't know. Asuka and Kairi were definitely the highlight of this match and this evening. But I think that was...
what does it say when the best thing Becky Lynch did in that entire match was get tied to railroad
was
tracks?
laid down, tied down. Yeah. Yeah, that's... Yeah, and... I'm getting those like weird feelings like we compared her to Hogan earlier. Around like 93, 94 when like the Hogan babyface run was getting very stale.
Sure. And
like you'd see the Hulk build, he'd Hulk up and people would kind of be like, oh, this again. When I saw Becky pulling out of those ropes, it was like, oh God, again, can't we just, Asuka, climb the damn ladder? Come on. Because I would have bet money that that Flair and Lynch were going to come out of this with the belts. Yeah. And I was shocked when they didn't.
Yeah, so was I.
Yeah.
Like it almost like there's somebody in the back, probably Vince, going, you know what Charlotte needs is a belt. Well,
give her a title, damn it.
We can't take it off of Becky. They got WrestleMania in a few months. But Charlotte, her tits are so big they need a belt. That's my Vince.
Get her one like the Fiend.
Yeah.
Put it on her chest.
Charlotte needs a championship bustier. All right.
The side plates are on the front.
We're going to give her side pasties. All right.
Where's Goldust's wife? God damn.
Get Marlena on the phone right now. All right. So, 26 minutes, the Kabuki Warriors finally climb that ladder. Poor car. By the way, like, we're just starving for something that feels real in the WWE. There's other places you can find stuff that feels authentic in wrestling. AEW has glimpses of it here and there. New Japan has some of it from from what I've watched over the past summer. Christ, even Women of Wrestling, as overproduced as that was, had moments where you genuinely felt like the people in the ring had a goal they were really trying to attain.
Sure.
And the WWE always feels so like TGIF sitcom. Mm-hmm. It's so inauthentic and so overproduced.
Inauthentic is the perfect descriptor, yeah.
And so Kairi Sane hitting herself in the face with a chair as she's crazily throwing it into the ring. And even Becky Lynch is kind of like side-eyeing her, like, what is she doing? And why is she mostly hitting herself was the best part of the pay-per-view, other than Asuka fucking winging the rope around.
Yep.
To Adam Page's growing jealousy. That's cowboy shit, Adam. It really was like the shit that Asuka and Kairi saying. Like, I genuinely felt like they were trying to murder Becky and Charlotte, and the stuff that like throwing the chair in, missing and hitting yourself, like as like on the one hand, dick, on the other hand, like I get that, like you're so crazy,
passionate, yep.
So passionate, amped up that you fuck up and miss the ring. Yeah. Mm-hmm. That's real life. That's authentic. I get that. There was stuff that Asuka did where she was so frustrated and she hated Becky Lynch and Charlotte so much, and it came out, and it was like that's what made this so good. Other than it was fucking brutal,
Yeah.
But that added to it. Like, that was, if the brutality in that match was the meat, in a good cut of meat, well prepared, all of that was like seasoning and garnish, and it made it so much better.
Yeah, and for a couple of women who English isn't their first language, they actually managed to communicate everything they wanted in all of their goals, all of their fears. I mean, Charlotte gave Kyrie that power bomb. That Kyrie was like, she was on Weird Street before she even got that power bomb, and put her through a table outside. And when Asuka was able to neutralize Charlotte, she came over and like checked on Kyrie, and it was legit because she was on Weird Street, but just that added so much to it that there was this passion there. There was a concern, and they're in this together and getting her to her feet. Where like Becky and Charlotte are kind of like they remind me of like when Diesel would be walking to the ring and then Shawn Michaels would like kind of slide in front and do a little flex. That's what I get with Becky and Charlotte. It's like, well, no, my hair's bigger. You can't see past my hair now. It's like this feels authentic. The Asuka and Kyrie pairing, and everything they did felt real. It was the first actual contrived ladder spot that made sense because it was new. They had that rope that came out of nowhere, and they tied Becky to it. They know what they need to do to win a ladder match is make sure the other people are stuck on the ground. Yeah. It's simple, and just going with like the simple way is so novel that it really shined.
I want to say something nice about Charlotte because I feel like I bag on her constantly, and she's the unfortunate beneficiary of being the wrestler that Vince McMahon seems to push above everyone else.
Yeah.
And so my initial punk rock reaction to that is to shit all
Screw
over
that.
her.
Yep.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. But I got to give credit where credit's due, and we speak truth on the Radulich and Broadcasting Network. Charlotte fucking sold. Charlotte, like, we're talking about the Kabuki Warriors and how authentic they felt. Charlotte was no slouch in that department either. Mm-hmm. Like, she got hit with a couple of things, and like you heard her yell out, "Oh fuck!"
Yeah, they bleeped it out. Yeah.
I think somebody kicked out or something, and she screamed like not the usual like girly kind of like
like a actual guttural, really pissed off. Yeah,
she's like, "Come the fuck on!" Like, so all the credit in the world to Charlotte. I bought that she was frustrated too. Mm-hmm. The only one who I had no use for in that match was Becky, and I think the best stuff she did was when she was tied to the ladder.
That's a fact.
I just wish a train had come out of nowhere and run her over. and then
she still would have won. She would have won
probably.
The match.
And
she would have suplexed the damn train.
The only thing that would have made this match even better would have been the cherry on the top of a perfect Sunday. Would have been if a train had come out of nowhere and run Becky over while she was on the ladder, and then they panned over, and both Asuka and Kairi Sane were wearing top hats and twirly mustaches.
There you go. I did like how the rope actually came back into play at the end of the match too. Because they left it, it was still hooked up to the ladder, and when I think it was Becky climbing it, Asuka from outside the ring was able to pull the ladder with the rope that was still attached. I thought that was I thought that was very smart, and I was waiting for that to happen, but I was expecting it to happen when the Warriors were climbing up. They did it in a way where it kind of caught me off guard because I'd forgotten about it. So I thought that was really cool.
So overall, kind of thumbs in the middle. Like the first two matches were fine. The next 3 or 4 were kind of forgettable. Bobby Lashley versus Rusev was a fine tables match. It was weird. It was kind of a weird thing that they put over Bobby Lashley instead of Rusev. But I'm not going to pull what's left of my hair out over it. Humberto Andrade was fine. New Day Revival was fine. Aleister Black, Buddy Murphy was fine. I think my only problem with that one was I know what being kicked in the head really looks like. You get kicked like that, you're going to sleep. So that's the problem. I've talked about this with Bailey. My biggest problem with pro wrestling right now is I watch mixed martial arts as well.
That'll do you.
Yeah, that just fucking kills a lot of this for me. So, Aleister Black kicking Buddy Murphy the way he does, and Buddy Murphy isn't unconscious.
Or dead.
Yeah. So those were good. The Viking Raiders, meh. King Corbin, Roman Reigns was fine. Bray Wyatt, Miz sucked.
Mm-hmm.
So really, I mean, more matches than not were either fine to good. I gotta give it at least a thumbs in the middle.
Thumbs in the middle is fair. Yeah.
Yeah. Anything else? And your last word on TLC 2019?
We're not going to remember any of this come the Rumble. So.
So long, farewell, Avitas, and good night.
Yeah, see you around 20 teens. Yeah.
All right. That is our coverage of TLC, brought to you by World Wrestling Entertainment. Chris, do your plugs.
Mm-hmm. You can find me a few places. Chris's on Infinite Earths is my daily blog, or Daily For Now blog, where I take a look at a different DC comic story every single day. I've been doing it for over 1,400 consecutive days at this point. You can find me over at chrisandreggie.com for more of my voice. If you haven't heard enough already, you can hear me talk about other things like comic books and comic books and comic books. Several times a week. I've been on a little bit of a break over the past couple weeks because of schoolwork, but going to be getting back in pretty soon, get it all going again. You can find me on Twitter at Ace Comics. I am not a United Kingdom comic book shop. I am actually just a man.
We'll hopefully have you back for NXT UK TakeOver Blackpool 2, but if not that, yes. But if not, for whatever the reasons are, we will definitely have you on for the Royal Rumble and Worlds Collide, which that show will be recording on January 28th. So, plus whatever else Chris decides he wants to jump on, whether it be one of the source materials or a TV party or what have you. So, always a pleasure, Chris.
Hey, thank you so much for having me. This was a lot of fun.
Absolutely. As for what we're doing, otherwise, we just dropped our Jumanji review. That's up in the archives now, Jumanji, The Next Level. We've got Runaways by Rainbow Rowell, a very short show, but a fun show. It's a short week this week with Star Wars coming out, and I'm going away for the weekend. So we'll have a TV party for the Runaways drop, and then that's it for the week. Next week is also kind of a weird week because of Christmas and Star Wars. We'll do Damn You Hollywood on Monday for Star Wars, and we're going to break format because we have 87 people showing up for this show. So we'll like we did with Avengers Endgame, we'll have more of a roundtable discussion than we are a traditional 3-act format for Damn You Hollywood. We'll have source material dropping our Lando discussion. Jesse and I had a lot of fun recording that, so you'll get to hear that on Christmas Eve. Christmas Day, Jesse will drop some one of his canned hams. He'll also drop some on the 26th. And then we're back to our mostly our regularly scheduled recordings with TV Party for Fuller House Season 5. Myself and Pat Mullen will be talking that. We'll have some either boxing or MMA coverage on the 28th. I haven't decided. And then we kick the year off with our look at Fight Club, where we're going to be doing Fight Club 2 on source material on December 30th. On January 1st, New Year's Day, we'll have our Metal Hammer of Doom year-end special. And then Sean and I will be doing an on-trial for Fight Club on January 2nd. Plus, we've got some possible boxing, heavyweight boxing history, Chapter 3 with Joe Louis on January 3rd. And then, speaking of pro wrestling, I don't know if you know this, Sheehan, but the ropes are made of chains. It's ICW New York, no holds barred.
Never even heard of that.
Nobody has. It's an indie wrestling show, no submissions, no rules, and the ropes are made of chains. It's going to be bananas. Bananas, wow. I tell you. We got a lot of cool wrestlers showing up for that, and one intergender match with Tessa Blanchard because things just never need to be perfect. So go ahead and check that out when it drops on January 4th. So that's it. That's all for now. Be well, be safe, and behave.
decorating with Dunkin'.
Hey, your desk looks great. Really festive with all the decorations.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, this Dunkin' Peppermint Mocha Latte gave me a little pick-me-up, and I decided to go for it.
Whoa, you even lined your desk drawers with musical lights?
Yep, and look what's inside. A Dunkin' Gingerbread S'mores Latte for you.
Get holiday in at Dunkin' with a $2 medium latte, cappuccino, or Americano from 2 to 6 p.m. The holidays run on Dunkin'. Price and participation may vary. Limited time offer. It's decorating with Dunkin'.
Hey, your desk looks great. Really festive with all the decorations.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, this Dunkin' Peppermint Mocha Latte gave me a little pick-me-up, and I decided to go for it.
Whoa, you even lined your desk drawers with musical lights?
Yep, and look what's inside. A Dunkin' Gingerbread S'mores Latte for you.
Get holiday in at Dunkin' with a $2 medium latte, cappuccino, or Americano from 2 to 6 p.m. The holidays run on Dunkin'. Price and participation may vary. Limited time offer.